Okay, so I know that the last video that I made was a bit of a drink out of the fire hose, and I had a thought after I produced that GitHub repo, right? I was thinking, what if I just kind of one shot a console application that can demonstrate semantic kernel auto function calling in a terminal and also use Windsurf and use the files that I provided in the GitHub as the grounding. Okay. Now, I'll tell you straight up, if we look, right, this was my original prompt that I dropped in there. I said create a simple .NET console project. It's going to use the semantic kernel. Use the version that's in Windsurf rules. Didn't tell it. So I had to look that up. And then said my goal is to be able to like chat. And I said there's going to be a couple of them is going to just to spell something backwards, because if you ever try to give an LLM a word like umbrella and say spell it backwards, but like with C#, that's easy, right? And then the other one was just going to be to write a file, right? Write to a file, because that's your save to a database or whatever you want to do, right? And it took a minute, and it's really only because I think that I was not specific enough with my instructions. And I could probably, if there was value to it, come up with a better instruction that will one-shot this. But like I didn't specify to create a solution file. I didn't, like there were a couple little things. It missed a using statement. They were like, like little bitty whoopsies, right? But this is like, are there timestamps? I don't think that this was more than 30 minutes worth of work. And we now have a semantic kernel. Oh, for Pete's sake. Let me actually open this up in Visual Studio, all right? Because that's where you're going to run and debug from. I will create code here, right? But then go over to Visual Studio, run and debug. It's just the world that we live in, okay? But let's take a look at what it made. It says it's got a new configure builder, blah, blah, blah. We got some values for my OpenAI key, for what model I want to use, for what my org is. A kernel builder is throwing those values in there. And we're adding our plugin, right? And if we look at the plugin, super simple, right? It's just, here's a note to save it to a file. Right? Spell this backwards, character array, reverse it, set it back. Okay. And if we look down here, that's where we set the function choice behavior auto. It's a little bit different than the last version, but you know what? Windsurf did it. Okay, so I barely even know how to spell, so let's just try something out. Hi, buddy. Can you spell PowerShell backwards? And this time we're debugging on purpose. All right, hold on a second. See if I can get these guys side by side. All right, there we go. POWERSHEL. Okay. And see what happens. Now, one thing that I wasn't thinking of immediately is that just in this demo, it's not writing to the file in my solution. It's writing to the debug folder file. Okay, so let me just close that. So that's why I've got debug.net open. And we go to notes. We wrote to file. So what I think I'm going to do is I will go back and make a new repo with this in it, because this is a simple project that you can pop open and look at and reference and build out from if you want to do auto function calling. But I would encourage you, again, to go get Windsurf, give it the documentation, and ask it how to do things, and then retest. I think it's a terrific way to learn, especially when you are using brand new technologies. And you cannot find best practices for it yet because nobody's established them. However, if you talk to the AI about some of your goals and stuff and just show it examples, and it already knows what the patterns are that people are using, it's pretty good about things. So give it a shot. Let me know what you make.